Now across Africa and especially here in Nigeria, access to decent, affordable housing remains one of the most pressing economic challenges of our time. Nigeria alone is grappling with a housing deficit estimated between 17 million to 28 million units, a gap that continues to widen as population, of course, grows, urbanization and inflation outpaces housing delivery. Despite an economy with a real estate market now valued in trillions of naira, systemic barriers from rising construction costs and complex documentation to inaccessible mortgage finance have kept quality homes out of reach for most Nigerians. On the show today, we explore these challenges and potential solutions with a seasoned industry leader, Engineer Aliyu Yunusa, Managing Director of McDream Concepts, joins us to unpack the realities facing developers, home buyers, and the broader economy, and to also discuss how we can build sustainable pathways towards closing Nigeria and at large Africa's housing gap. Thank you so much for being part of the program.
Thank you very much, Joy. Thank you for having us, and thank you for bringing our problem on board for discussion.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so several years ago, when this question was posed, especially to the Nigerian Minister of Housing at the time, I remember very vividly that he said Nigeria does not have a deficit problem, a housing deficit problem, and that when you go to other parts of the country, of the world rather, you see people homeless, truly homeless, they have nowhere else to go. But in Nigeria, your family members would, of course, give you a home. But that stretched infrastructure, does it make the deficit not there? The fact that we have 5 people living in a home that should accommodate 1 or 2, does it mean there's no housing deficit just because we don't see people literally littered on the street?
Okay, thank you very much for this one. This your question is technical. Let me also handle it that way. First of all, the question of availability of housing. I believe that our affordability issue is due to mismatch. That's what I believe.
Right.
Mismatch in the sense that houses are available where they are not needed, and we have deficit where houses are needed.
Right.
For example, both of us, we are in FCT having this discussion now. We came probably from
other parts of the
country. And in that place we come from, there are houses that are available waiting for you to come, even if it will take you 1 year to go back home. While here in FCT, someone is looking for where to stay. So when we discuss housing holistically as a nation, we have a mismatch. And secondly, what the minister said probably cannot be disputed, because we also have a minister of housing before that challenged the housing data that is being pronounced.
Was it same? Was it Fashola?
Yes, Fashola, yes.
Okay. Because then, I think that was what brought about
deficit. So the issue of data is a very big issue. Like now, if you go to open sources, you ask, just take a Google, ask housing deficit in Nigeria. Some sources will tell you 17 million, some will tell you 28 million. That was where I appreciated the current administration. They know that this is a problem, because you cannot solve a problem you don't understand. And when we talk of solving housing issues, not only Nigeria, Africa generally, we have over 50 million. We projected to reach 130 in the next 4 years. So now the Nigerian comes together, form a technical committee that now says, agreed, that we have about 14.9 million housing deficit. So now that we have brought out the reality, the question will now be how to solve it, both in the aspect of mismatch and also affordability in urban cities.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that mismatch, the data, what's the progress in ensuring that the data is accurate? Because there's no government in the world that's able to, solve a problem blind. So what are the efforts to have leading partners or leading experts in the industry such as yourself to ensure that there is good data, accurate data?
Okay, issue of data, as I said earlier, is a big challenge.
Absolutely.
Because a problem that has so many faces, you don't even know where to attack from.
I agree with you.
So now that the technical committee has submitted a report that said now we have 14.9 million housing deficit, and also they said for we to be able to bridge this gap, we need about 550 housing units annually for the next decade. So it means that now all the stakeholders involved, both private, government and civil organization, now need to come to a center table as we are having this discussion and create a roadmap at which we can
ensure that that the data is breached. That's very important. Now let's go straight and look holistically at the current issue of real estate sector in Nigeria particularly, and let's talk in terms of housing availability and affordability. You have mentioned the mismatch. If you go to my village, a lot of us have left, and so the houses are bound. You know, you can always access a home when you go to everyone finally goes home. But what would you say is the solution to affordability? Because movement is always sure. The need for greener pasture, you will not remove it from man. From the beginning of man, that has been something you can't take away from man.
Oh, okay. To solve this problem, in issue of affordability, we will look at it from the end of supply and demand. So presently we have shortfall of supply. There are some even misconception or speculation in Nigeria that houses are empty.
Is it speculation? Because I can point to a lot of houses that I know no one stays there, as massive as they are. You know, it's not inhabited.
When there are serious problems, you look at them from both technical, emotional, social. You look at it from different perspectives. When we said houses are available, some people are looking for houses. The houses are available are for who? Who bought them? What is the purpose? Because it started, irrespective of how we look at housing from social perspective, we cannot neglect the fact of the economic contribution.
Absolutely.
Because presently, as the country is concerned, real estate as an industry, even and construction, their contribution is over 17% to Nigerian GDP. So something as important as that to the economy, while you address it from the social end, you must also attack it from the economic end. Now, the real question, how can this gap be bridged? The gap need a holistic approach.
Absolutely.
Number one, the private sectors are trying, where we are playing, we are trying as much as possible to ensure that on our own capacity, we made a house available. Because, as I said, availability and demand. Then also, the government on their own end must also do their own part, either through PPP or social intervention program, like the new administration, they have the new housing agenda where they have New Hope Housing. So when all hands like this are on deck, we now see that the gap will be closed. But most importantly, this data now, the next assignment we're supposed to give to the technical reporters is the 14.9 million deficit has been exhumed. What are the mappings in FCT? Only after you said FCT, this is the gap, you now distill it down to places like Kubwa, Nyanya, all this, and know what are deficit in specific areas so that you know what to do. Because when you approach this thing, our hands are not equal. So to you as a big woman now, you are living close to close to Villa.
That is fake news.
So I am not living close to Villa, and everybody cannot live here.
Absolutely. So we now know we shouldn't even live in one area. There should be infrastructures that makes me not worry about living in Kubwa.
I am also belong to this school of thought that decentralization. Decentralization, as it is being approached in Abuja today, kudos to this present minister. There are so many hold-ups that he has decongested by coming up with a new infrastructure.
Absolutely.
So that is one aspect of it. But secondly, I believe that in the morning, if you wake up, there are some certain routes that it become congested in the morning, and one of the lane will become free. So now let us look at where are those people going to, and bring those services closer to them. By doing so, you also solve a lot of this housing.
I mean, if you travel across Africa, you realize that this is not a peculiar issue in Nigeria. Yes. in FCT, where there is that influx of individuals in certain cities. But I know you mentioned in passing, and I want us to address it, where we pass by and drive by houses that seems empty. These are huge houses that, should you even try to take rent for them, you can't afford it. And in the same vein, it is also necessary to have this infrastructure. You have mentioned the contribution to our GDP. My question is, as a moral developer, and I'm trying to talk to your emotional or moral side, when you reach out to, let's say hypothetically, I have billions to buy apartments or develop something in Abuja, how do you ensure that it is then affordable? I'm talking about you as a moral developer, now affordable to Nigerians, so that you don't leave it empty. Sometimes, thankfully, we've had this conversation where law enforcement even secures the place, just to ensure that nobody comes in and all of that. You would think there's anybody there, but it's just a policeman around and all that. But how do you ensure the balance where, listen, you have an empty land that is fallow, you could do something about it, and then still make it affordable?
Okay, thank you very much. The question of affordability is relative.
And in Abuja, it's super relative.
In every economic context, what is affordable to me might not be affordable to you, or what I look at being affordable may not be affordable to another person. Now, in terms of housing, as a developer, if I tell you that because maybe I'm a religious person, I'm building a property, at the end of the day, I must make it affordable so that I'm not being honest with you.
Right.
Well, first of all, as a developer, you look at the components of production, what made up this thing. And this industry has a very long value chain, from the land to the development and the professionals that make their input on it, up to the construction and the delivery.
Absolutely.
Now, when you look at the components of all these things, in the terms of they are not affordable. In 2023, cement was around 6,000, 6,500, juggling around that price. Today, it's about 10,000 naira. Even that is if you are even buying with in bulk. Now, I'm not talking of buying a piece, which it might be more. So to also look at the reinforcement, that is iron. These are things that make the components of this product. If they are not affordable, there is no way the final product will be affordable. That's why advocacy in terms of localization is popping up.
Right.
Because why cement? When we can come up with innovation that is more cheaper, alternative solution that is cheaper than
and sustainable and environmentally friendly.
So why should we go to this? So that is the advocacy now on board, to see how we can have alternative materials. And as you said, it is not peculiar to Nigeria. In other African countries generally, what we are seeing in terms of housing, infrastructural development, urbanization, generally, they are the same.
Absolutely.
So now is for we to know the specific problem to specific nation and come up with a framework to solve the problem. The concept of affordability is relative. Like now, if you go online, check the new Hope Housing, how much are they selling? So what does that tell you is that the government has already set a benchmark. Take for instance, if they are one bedroom, is around 25 million or 20 million, for example, it means that the government has to tell you indirectly that the affordable housing level now in Nigeria is at that level.
Yes.
So me now as a malam or a religious person, I will come and be selling 15. Who born me?
Okay, I see how you have undermined yourself now to call yourself malam. But I know that with you, if you want to give the entire Nigeria fix Nigeria's housing deficit, government will be lagging behind with your initiative. But let's move on now. I mean, I hosted one of your real estate programs several years ago. Surprisingly, several years ago.
Yes, 2014.
Yeah, that was 2024.
Yeah.
So one thing that came up was the issue where people cite as obstacles documentation, that's that complicated looking documentation that comes in. Is it licensing or titling process, where you get a title, you don't know if it is real, you don't know if it is not, and it also affected investment in real estate across the world, where Nigerians, Africans in diaspora really want to invest in sectors, vibrant sectors like real estate in Nigeria. There's population, there's market for it, but they're afraid. So what have you, your group, been doing to ensure that people are, there's this local phrase I'm trying to look, their mind is at ease, they trust enough to say, they have the confidence to say, you know what, I see the potential here, I would invest without fear of being defrauded, fear of losing your money. And I was having a conversation with my mother a couple of days ago where she said, somebody came from the US to my town and collapsed because he had paid so much to his brother to build him a house, and unfortunately the brother had not done much about the house and he had spent everything and all that, and the person was unfortunately part of the people who were deported. So he's coming back to nothing. But these are legitimate issues people are facing.
Okay, first of all, let me clap for you for asking that question, because it's a question that hits directly into the realities, not current. It was being previous and also now. So now, issue of digitalization, I'm coming as a solution, speaking from a solution. Digitalization, how can we make these processes seamless? Because one of the bottlenecks that is hindering growth of the real estate industry, not only real estate industry, and most industries, are the processes. Now, in terms of our own industry, for example, if you want to buy something from me now, and you want to confirm, first of all, the land I develop an estate on, if it is genuine or not, you cannot do it while sitting down here now. You have to go somewhere, write letter, wait, or this. Are you getting it now? But let me interest you. You introduced me earlier on as a convener of Africa Real Estate and Business Insight. So on the platform, I have a discussion with someone from Rwanda. We're having their discussion, and while we are live on the program, he brought a title, and we confirm it.
Was it for Rwanda?
Yes.
All the way.
Yes.
All the way for.
He brought a title on air. He showed us the details. You just go Google and enter Rwanda master plan. Go to the search the code of that, and you have your confirmation within a blink of an eye. What that does is that it liberates economic participation. Because if I wanted to invest in such kind of land, for example, the fear of ownership has been removed because the process is digitalized.
It's digitalized, and you can see.
As an organization, there are little to what we can do. Our own is to influence policies and make suggestions to the people vested with the legislative power and executive power to make it happen.
A lot of people have lost money, especially in Abuja especially. what are you doing? What is your organization doing to, you know, get us to that point where you send me a deed, a title or whatever, and I can do a quick Google search. I know who owns it, and I know if it's government, if it is even in a recreational place, because that is some of the things. Lands that were allocated for recreation, lands that were kept aside for certain, were being sold as residential, and a lot of people lost money. Where are we there in Nigeria?
Okay, the problem in lines with that is, let me say, ignorance or enlightenment. Irrespective, anyone I use, please capture it that way. What I mean by ignorance or enlightenment is that many people are not aware of issues that concern them. Issue of real estate concerns everybody, because you can't show me any business that is not being affected by real estate issues. Even this your studio.
It's of course real estate is everything.
It's everything. So now, what in response to your question now is this: how can you ensure that a property you are buying is genuine? It's for you to know what to look out for. And what are those things you are going to look out for? Is that, first of all, you should understand that there is a certificate that certifies ownership on land. Every house is seated on the land. So you must ensure that that certificate, the person, it is there.
Absolutely.
So when the person shows you that certificate, you need to match break. Don't be in a rush. Because when a road, in my own dialect, there's an adage that says that if a road bend, you will also bend to follow that road. It is when you force yourself to go straight, you will fall inside ditch. So now the Nigerian system is bent. Bend is the sense that by logical thinking, we are advocating for digitalization where you can just check in your phone. But it is not. The perfection is not there. What is there is that there are agencies in FCT, for example. You have land administration department where you go and make this confirmation. So you confirm that the land is genuine. And also, if a property is being developed in the place, it must have an approval from the Development Control Authority in that state.
Exactly.
Ensure that these documents are in place. Now, if it question of if it is being falsified, how can you ensure? Because people can falsify them.
Yes.
Go to the authority. These things have numbers. In FCT now, any development have a conveyance. Any land has title, either right of occupancy or certificate of occupancy. So take these documents. If you want to ease yourself, there are professionals that can do it on your behalf. We have property lawyers, we have estate valuers, then we have consultants like us that can help you. You also even link you up with how it is be done. Then generally, body holding someone to accountability. We have Real Estate Developer Association of Nigeria. They are yesterday we had our AGM here in Kado here. So they are also a body that is trying to ensure that confidence are being built in the industry. The case you are talking about, they are a body that is trying to ensure that such cases are not being repeated. So what they do is that you can reach out to them. When you reach out to them and you have any fraudulent issues, they'll fight for you. And I don't want you to apply a tablet to when the headache has come. Prevention is better than cure, as we said it. So before you entered, put all these preventive measures into place.
Absolutely. But why have we not embraced technology so to an extent where is it rocket science for us? Technology would have made things simpler, transparent, and easier and more accountable. What is hindering us? Because you have mentioned how, reach out to certain individuals and all of that. But technology?
Okay, if I may speak for the country at this point, let me not speak, let me say what I know. The technology is being adopted facially. What I mean in facial, it is not as it used to be, both at national level and state levels. It is being adopted face by face. Okay. Before issue of titling are issue of files that even the agency themselves have problem you are fighting outside.
Exactly.
That in which a dubious mindset person within the system can duplicate files. But now within the institution, internally in the agencies, is being digitalized. So many of the lands are digitalized with them. In their system, my number cannot be your number. So once in their system, once the number is being input in their system, file numbers, it will bring everything about you. It's not about two person. So what in their adoption, they have adopted internally. What is remaining is external liberation, which is the one that concern large number of people that can attract foreign direct investment into the industry, that can also reduce all these cases of thefts, corruption, and manipulation in regards to it. But I believe that the investment is also why we need it. We know it is required. The investment to make it happen is not small as well. Probably that might be at their hit, but we are still advocating that the solution to all this, you cannot eradicate it 100%, but to bring it down to minimal acceptable level is for we to make sure that this digitalization happens externally.
Right.
That even you now, you can stay there while I'm preaching, buy this thing, I own it, you just check it, you say, this guy is a criminal, or this guy is
and you protect yourself,
so you protect
and
yourself,
your resources.
Yeah.
But let's go back to why we have that. I mean, prices of properties constantly. I mean, when people are advertising these properties, they are like, oh, it is definitely going to exponentially, come up in price. But construction costs, inflation, there are several aspects to it, complex aspects sometimes, where that's making homes unaffordable for an average citizen, not just in Nigeria but across the world. How has that impacted your work and the sector at large, and what would you say government can do to ensure that this cost of building materials, construction costs, is at a pace? Now, I know you build for the high and mighty across the country, but I'm talking about those in underserved communities who unfortunately still live in very dilapidated housing. Don't rub your face like that.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm rubbing my face because when you said I build for high end, I don't build for high end only. We build for low end.
I've not seen any of your apartments or buildings that is for low end. We
have for low end.
Okay, it's good to know that.
We also, let me start solving your problem. Responding to the question, and so that I will not digress. The government, if you look at government, there is a limit to what government can carry.
Absolutely.
And when the government make their own effort, even personally, if you make your effort, you believe that effort is the best. Presently, the government has done something. The big bulls that produce all these construction materials are being given tax breaks, tax incentives. And if you even flash back, 2023, immediately that these reformation policies were passed, you see that time that the cost of items were going up progressively. So the government held meetings with these players, the steel and the cement. They brought the price down. But you believe with me that the government cannot come to tell you this price came down because we are paying them so amount of subsidies. Because the people that the government has meeting with, the government is not the owner of the business, they are private business. But for you to bring their cost down, if you are bringing my cost of my house down now, that means you are giving me something to cover up with what I'm giving.
What if government makes importing some of these products or these materials that we cannot help but import? There are several ways government can ensure.
We are talking about localization. Earlier I talked about it. The problem we have is the problem, and another orientation we need to have is desire advocacy.
Exactly.
So desire advocacy in the sense that everybody wants to be in luxury apartment. at the same time. And that alone, because your decision can make something either affordable or expensive, that alone has shoot you out of affordability. So there is nothing wrong. If you go back to where most of us come from, in those villages, so many houses doesn't have tiles or selective tiles. Inner rooms might have tiles. The common areas are just German cement floor. That is all. But now the new trend now is that everywhere must be tiled. That's an additional cost. So the issue of localization, bringing out alternative materials, is also there. We have laternized concrete that are out there. Where
so options exist.
There are options that exist. The problem with those options is abundance, and also as we said the other time, sustainable, eco-friendly, because there are some alternatives that are not eco-friendly. Let me give issue of laternized concrete, for example.
Right.
Using laterite to mix concrete, to alter concrete. For example, those things you have to like excavate them from the ground, and by the process of excavation, you are creating another borrow pit somewhere.
That has its own environmental
that has its own environmental impact. Then secondly, about affordability, the only problem again is credit facility. Everything is affordable. This phone now, if the immediate price today is 3 million, if you are bringing out all the whole 3 million to buy it, it might cause some level of financial discomfort.
Absolutely.
But if there are
mortgage plan,
there are a lot of financial alternatives in place, not short term, long term. Like now, at the end of the day, if I am to pay 30 years, divide 3 million by 30, you will see how much I will be paying monthly
or yearly.
So at the end of the day, I will not feel it.
Absolutely.
What they call easy buy. So it becomes easy to afford. Purchase, right. So we should also look at this innovative financing option.
Okay, so why have we not looked at it? Because all over the world, if you even travel to countries that today we appreciate, this is the concept that rules them. They don't pay out of pocket full prices for things. You hear people say, I paid, it took me 30 years to eventually finish my mortgage for the house, but now I own it, and so my children can have it and all of that. Why is that far-fetched for us? I know, I also recognize the efforts that developers have been having to say, but it's never long-term. You hear them say, you pay 60%, work begins. Why is it far-fetched?
Why is it far-fetched? You see, I said some issues, if you want to dissect them, one problem will lead to the other.
Like,
now, why? First of all, before I dwell more on why, I should let you know that these options are available. Presently, we have the ones that Ministry of Finance Incorporated are doing. The interest rate is less than 10%. It's 9.75%.
Okay, one digit.
Yes, it's one digit, and you are entitled to at least maximum cap of 100 million. And your repayment plan is about 20 years, and so within 20 years, which is wow. So it's there. We have family homes that are also there. Then we have federal mortgage for everybody that is earning a repeatable income. They are also there. Now, why? Issue of documentation you talk about, when we say bankable projects, the projects that can be supported with credit and finance. So now we have a situation where titling issues is not settled.
Right.
And before you can access this type of finances, they are not being accepted by hope or word of mouth. No, now my brother they build them, I know that the title is good. They need to see evidence that the title is okay. So this is how the issues become a structural issue.
Right.
So if the monies are there, if you look at even the report, the mortgage penetration is low. I think it's less than 20%.
Unfortunately.
Are you getting it now? Then the question is now why? It's just like now the other time that the BUI said they have a loan for small businesses and they did not come to pick them. And when the question now goes why? Lack of record, lack of this, lack of that. So that lack is affecting the penetration. Finances are there, FDIs are there. We have a organization, Shelter Africa and the like, that guarantee bankable projects for developers to get access to funding. But is your project bankable? When you are asked to bring papers, now you need a property somewhere, they said bring the title document. That's when the developer said, you know, we have applied, we haven't gotten approval, all this thing. It will lead to a problem. But irrespective of how it is, people are still taking advantage of them. But the percentage penetration is what is low. Then we now look at all these areas I highlighted and many more, fix them so that we can liberate that place.
What African market, especially in the real estate sector, would you say Nigerian real estate, private, and even government can take a cue from?
The real estate African market?
Yeah, I mean, across Africa, what country would you say have gotten it to an extent right?
Okay.
And Nigeria should take
a cue from them. I will give kudos to Rwanda.
Okay.
Why? Because their digitalization process, that is bureaucratic bottleneck,
have been cut off,
has been reduced to reasonable percentage. Because I hosted one person from Rwanda that even said as to the level of 95%.
Wow.
Yes. So then one of the things, if you browse now, a problem of affordability housing in Africa, the first thing you will see there is urbanization. That is, urbanization is a problem.
Right.
But in Rwanda, I know of 2024, Rwandan Development Board made it as part of their projection to increase urbanization. I'm not saying decrease. Increase urbanization by 10%. Increase. It means that what is being a problem is now being utilized as opportunity.
How is that? And because when we say increase urbanization here, we talk about stretched infrastructure. Yes. How it's going to affect.
Yeah, I said they have it. The Rwanda development, they have it as a target to increase.
Right.
So it means that if you solve fundamental problem, because problems is very deceptive in nature. When you have a problem somewhere, when I say deceptive, is that when a problem has given birth to children, grandchildren, and the likes, you can end up cutting off the children, but forget about the father. Exactly. So until you root the father, all those ones are not going to die down. So when we solve the fundamental issue, bureaucratic issues, operational issues that cut all the hindrances from every developer to move.
But it's very simple. It's very simple.
So from outside, sometimes we are not there.
Because the reason I want to live in the city center is because I will enjoy electricity, is because there's going to be good roads, because there's going to be water and security. I think, top of my head, those are the four reasons that determine where somebody says, if I move there, is there access to water? Is there access to... So when it comes to education and healthcare, which is just as important, very often we figure out ways, but the very fundamental is it secure? Does it have access to water, electricity, and good roads? So why have we not fixed this? Because if we do, I don't think the influx to the FCT would be there. What do you think?
Okay, when we talk about fixing, what do we need to fix it? The financial burden of this industry alone is over $100 billion that is being required to bridge this infrastructure deficit annually. Where is it going to come from? So now, the private players, if the bureaucratic bottlenecks are removed out, even presently, the FCT development, I'm using FCT as an example, if I will said 60-40, I'm not being fair to the government, but let me say 50-50 in terms of infrastructural development. The core infrastructure is the ones that have for public access.
Right.
All the inner stomach roads are developers. Developers are building infrastructure. I'm talking of a stretch of kilometers. Even my company has built road at Mabuchi here, because we want to, as you said, we want to improve that access to our clients, and also part of it to contribute to the environment.
Absolutely.
So the infrastructure, what of power? Almost all developers are buying transformer. Even presently, we are also going into renewable energy
solutions
for our occupants.
Wow.
Yes. So we were in China last year for this, to start generating our power within our estates
and possibly go off grid.
Yes, and possibly go off grid. So it is a very shrinking and challenging environment, but the patriotic mind is there, irrespective of the business mindset. Absolutely. That we know, okay, this needs to be fixed. Don't wait for this, and we are all doing it. What government has to do makes the environment safe as it is, then bring some level of incentives that the industry need, and also most importantly, remove the bottlenecks.
Absolutely.
The only way you can remove all these bottlenecks is to remove human interference, because if I'm the president of the country now, there are so many things you will say if it need human relation that may not happen.
Absolutely.
But once you give a computer, a software, and instruction,
there are no emotions.
A demo has been done for me, I can see it work that day. It's fine. Deploy it, it will be working. You reduce your headache, everything moves.
There's no emotion, there is no
yes, there's no now God send me.
God send me can do that. So, but finally, if you had one policy change, if you had an opportunity to implement one policy that you think would, of course, significantly close the Nigeria's housing deficit, what would it be? I mean, significantly. I know it will be tough to completely, but significantly.
Significance. I will just go into the reformation of land administration. That's all. Reformation in the sense of digitalization, land tenure system. Just that reformation
will have a ripple effect.
Will have a ripple effect because that is where everything started from the soil. So once I got it right, every other ones can easily take care of itself.
Well, how does it affect you when there's so much government interference, especially in the FCT, where you're hearing people say, "My land, the FCT minister has come for my land," and I've heard developers say that as well, where I have to go run and see what has to be done, and this has nothing to do with the tenement rate. It's just that all of a sudden the land people are there to tell you it's the FCT government that owns it, is no longer yours, and all of that. Have you had instances like that as well?
I have heard rumors, but as a player in it, I use what concern me to guide other people. I don't believe when you have all your processes in place, the government will just come and take your property if it is not for public interest, because we are all tenants.
Of course.
So
overriding public interest.
We have overriding public interest, because the experience I have had in regards to what you are saying, when we bring our documentations out, our CFO, the process of allocation, everything goes off.
But why do you have to even get to the point where now you have to even bring, where ideally it should be obvious? You don't even have to be disturbed if you have.
Remember, this one is not from government. This one is a co-business person that comes to grab what you have. So there are a lot of things that it is very difficult for you to explain them. And also when people said, I have this land, I have that, every land that are being allocated have a condition. And when somebody wants to deal with you, They said anybody that comes to equity should come with a clean hand. So try as much as possible for you to put your house in order.
Right.
So that even if anybody allegedly is witch hunting you, the person will not see. They said they also don't have skeleton. There's no skeleton in your cupboard.
Absolutely.
You cannot have a land now, for example, allocated to you in 90s, that annually you're supposed to be paying ground rent. You are not paying. Then if I don't like you and I want to collect the land from you, it's very simple, because you have defaulted
for yourself, right? Then
you cannot collect a housing land, because in the landing allocation there are housing land for housing development, right, where you also create a small community.
Okay, so mass housing.
Listen, so the government will give you the land, then there are some certain social impact obligations on you. You did not do them. Then at the end of the day, you just go milk everything. At the end of the day, become a problem. So this is how everything is.
Okay, thank you so much. We have run out of time, but thank you so much for giving us your time to discuss these very important issues, not just in Nigeria, it's across Africa. But thank you.
Thank you very much for having us.
You have to come back. There are several other things to discuss around the real estate sector.
Any day, anytime.
Right. So we've been discussing with engineer Aliyu Yunusa, Managing Director of McDream Concepts. Again, this is where we end today's edition of Razep Africa. Rest assured, we'll be back next time with so much more. Have yourself a wonderful rest of the day.